Welcome to a game between Sub2Pew here with an engineer commander and a jump pod factory, going against Steel Blue, who requested this replay on Wanderlust. And he's going with an engineer commander and a spider factory. Personally, I would recommend blueprinting redbacks because they're so slow, while venoms are pretty fast, so you might as well build them from the factory, especially on a small map like this. So I would suggest bringing redback as a ploppable unit. Widow can also be a surprise, but yeah, I recommend the redback. Widow is also pretty fast. Anyway, you start here with two fleas, and the most biggest critique that you want it to be flamed and roasted. So the biggest mistake you make in this map is trying to raid with venoms. I pre-watched this video, and you want to basically, fleas are a big asset in this mashup. This is basically a map pack with two fleas. You should be able to know how many pyros the enemy has. You should be able to exploit enemy-like positions. You should know exactly what the enemy is making. So now that you see that the enemy made a early pyro, you should know that you need to defend against a pyro eventually. But the thing is, if you keep the fleas up in the enemy base, you're also forcing the pyro to stay back and defend his fleas, and you're forcing the constables to chase the fleas, and you're forcing puppies. Yeah, they don't even make cost against the fleas, so that's a good trade for you. So if you're good, you make some more fleas and try to keep the pyros at home and force the enemy to do defense. Like the enemy built a picket to defend against fleas, and you might even be able to run in from this location if you scouted a picket going up and run it like this and start killing the wind and tidal generators and hiding behind the metal extractors. So yeah, and here you are trying to raid with a venom. And yeah, you damage the constable a bit, but yeah, you're gonna lose. If you try to engage a constable with a lone venom, you're gonna lose because the constable slows the venom and you're not able to do anything. So the question is, should you even raid with a lone venom? What can a lone venom do? Like you can kill a load turret, you can kill one pyro alone. If it's alone, if it's completely alone. Meanwhile, you're losing a venom there. But if you mismanage like you do over here, like you mismanage your venom, you get burned, and then you keep burning. So the pyro has even a kind of an advantage in 1v1. If the pyro player is paying attention, they can jump away before they get stunned, and you start burning the venom, and then the pyro player waits for the stun to expire, and here you can see you can do nothing against two pyros. A venom is just completely useless against two pyros. So what can you even hope to achieve with a single venom? If you face a lotus turret, yeah, you can kill a lotus turret, but then if a constable comes along and slows down your venom, yeah, you lose. And here the enemy does it again. He jumps away as he's getting stunned, and now your venom is burning again. So if you want to kill, you can kill a pyro 1v1, but you need to get in and you need to stun it and you need to run it down if it jumps out, because your venom keeps burning all the time. This is almost a useless venom. It can do nothing. It might even lose to a single constable, and the damage is so slow that enemy has a huge time to just reinforce the position. Killing a mech takes a huge ass time, so this is useless. It's really hard to get anything done with lone venoms against jump bots. And yeah, you do a tiny bit of damage to these pyros, but they're gonna start regenerating that in 100 seconds, and they're gonna be up to full health in no time. So yeah. Should you even raid in this matchup? You should use the best thing is to do is to make fleas, and you make enough fleas to keep track of them in position and try to force the pyros home. If the enemy is keeping pyros at home, you are forcing the enemy to basically go back, and this is you run into an enemy commander and you do nothing. You lose a pyro, you lose a venom, I mean. So yeah, basically your fleet should be able to provide you with a map pack that allows you to build more cons, and as the enemy pyros approach, you can build lotus turrets. Right now you have built like 2 useless lotus turrets here. What are they going to do? Are you going to do anything throughout this whole game? The enemy has never even once been close to threatening these lotus turrets, so gonna prove to be pretty useless the whole game. You should only make Lotus Turrets when you see the enemy Pyros incoming, and if you have Fleece, like look at that as useless a lone Venom is. It's only damaged these Pyros a little bit, and then they just kill it. They're almost useless. Trying to raid with Redbacks can work if you manage to go in unsneakily and the enemy just has Pyros to defend. But yeah, Moderators Pyros are a real strong combo against Spiders. Moderators kill Redbacks, they kite Redbacks, they slow Venoms, and they're pretty good against they slow Venoms as well. And then the Pyros, like, I mean, Fleas are good against Moderators, but yeah, one single Pyros is mostly enough to make Fleas useless against Moderators, so yeah. So really, you want to be able to provide a map pack with Fleas and try to force the enemy Pyros to stay at home, and if you have like 5 Fleas, you can easily kill a Constable if there's no enemy units nearby, and you're gonna force the enemy to be Lotus, Turrets and Pickets just to defend their backline, and you can expand mostly freely. Instead you're being really defensive, you have 2 Lotus Turrets there, not gonna do anything throughout this whole game. You're making a Stinger to counter the Moderators, decent choice, but this is like on the side of the map, so they're not gonna give you a lot of map control. Doing a Stinger in the middle of the map is pretty good, because it basically takes a Firewalker or a Jack to get it out, and if you have enough Venoms and Redbacks out, yeah, the enemy's not gonna be able to kill the Stinger with Jack. So yeah, and you have horrible attrition here, and yeah. So what should you do in this matchup? You should be defensive expanding and harassing with Fleas and keeping track of the enemy unit composition. Like if an enemy goes for pure Pyro and you see that, yeah, you can spam some Venoms and try to harass with like 2-3 Venoms or you could just expand safely and make Lotus Turrets as the Pyros approach. In this case, you want just-in-time defenses. Like a Pyro can just about 1v1 a Lotus Turret. It's enough if you have a Venom nearby that can provide defense, and even 1 or 2 Fleas are gonna make that Pyro lose against that Lotus Turret. So as long as you have something, anything, one Lotus Turret is enough against 1 Pyro. So it's pretty easy to just build a Lotus Turret as you see the enemy Pyros incoming on radar or with Fleas. So yeah. Hermits in this matchup, what are they gonna do? They can kill Lotus Turrets, sure, but Pyros are decent against them. Moderators are a hard counter, even though you might be able to overrun something like a commander. You have enough. Like if you had 10 Hermits here, you could just overrun the commander's position. 5, that's probably not enough. So it's a numbers game. If you surprise enemy and they're out of position, yeah, you can punish it. But yeah, I mean, Pyros, they might die against Hermits, but if they set the Pyros to retreat on low health, they're just gonna jump away, and they're gonna dodge most of the shots from the Hermits. So Hermits is also pretty bad in this matchup. You could potentially go for like a Hermit Redback combo, but that's really slow, and yeah, you're still gonna struggle against Moderators. So yeah, you kill a few wins, a few mexes, not really worth it. Sub2Pew is successing a bit, but as you can see here, you got ahead early in economy, even though you just made a single Weaver to expand this position. You still managed to be ahead in expansion. But still, your Venom raiding was useless pretty much. That could just been some flea harassments and then some defense. So yeah. Crab in this matchup is, I mean, it counts as Moderators. What is the good counter for, I mean, the obvious counter, like Jacks are pretty decent against a Crab. If you put on a Spire, it's gonna be hard to get with Jacks. Juggernaut is ultimate Crab counter, but it's kind of expensive, so if you get a Crab and kill a few Moderators and take some position, and just avoid getting catched by the Juggernaut, it's decent. Like, I wouldn't say Crab is a useless choice. Like you can see here, the enemy has a huge army here with like Moderators and some some pyros. And sure, the moderators are gonna slow down the crab, but moderators don't have a lot of DPS, like 46 DPS, that's laughable for 240 medals. So actually killing the crab, if the jump pod player doesn't have Jax or Juggernauts out on the map, that's gonna be a struggle. So if the enemy sees the crab coming up, they can just make a Juggernaut in response or even Jax in response, and your crab is gonna be mostly negated. Like, you can try to keep it safe and out of reach of the Jax, and like if there's just Jax and your crab don't get caught and it's on a spire, you can just walk away from the Jax as they come in and use the skirmisher. So I wouldn't say a crab is useless. Question is if it's better to go for Recluse. Like, Recluse and Redback combo is a pretty good counter against the Moderator Pyro counter, the Moderator Pyro combo. So yes, Recluse and some Redbacks to prevent against Pyro run-ins. That's pretty good actually. Firewalker is a real threat, but Firewalker is 900 metal, and it's only if you spread out your Recluses on a big line, yeah, they're not gonna burn a lot, and you might even be able to repair them. Here you're starting to repair the crab. That's also a thing you should consider, is that crab needs to repair, so if you make a crab, you should be prepared to repair it, and you're just trying to spam hermits to keep the crab safe. It's a decent choice, but really you put the crab too far forward. It could have been raised on a spire. A thing you can also do with the crab is you can build a wall in front of it to protect it when it's getting low in health, to protect it against moderators and placeholders, and then repair it from behind the spire. But yeah, it's a slow matchup. And you can see here that Sub2Pew went for Phoenix, which, yeah, if you get too many Recluses, Phoenix is a good counter. But you can almost kind of avoid, like, if you spread out your Recluses enough over a wide front, if you spread out your Recluses over a wide front, then you're only like, they might not even get a single, if they have a bad Bummergun, they might not even get a single Recluse, because, yeah, they're not guaranteed to kill a fully healthy Recluse, and if you repair them afterwards, you lose 1, maybe 2 per run. But yeah, and even if the enemy gets a Firewalker, that buys you a lot of time. Like, a Firewalker, if you just repair the Recluses, that's gonna buy you a lot of time. Stingers though are a real threat against that if you want to go for Recluse, so yeah, it can get pretty porky in this matchup. But yeah, personally I would recommend playing more defensively. Going for Lone Venom harassment against Jump Pod is pretty useless. Like a Venom can barely 1v1 a Pyro and add anything into that, and the Venom is gonna lose. A Venom can, yeah, it can barely 1v1 a Lotus turret, but add a what do you call it? Add a constable. I mean constables, and you're gonna slow the Venom down, and it's gonna lose. Try to kill a mix. The enemy has a lot of time to respond with pyros. Yeah. So basically, use Fleece as a map hap. Force the enemy to keep their pyros at home. Force them to build defenses. Expand freely as you have map hap with Fleece, and only make Lotus turret as you see incoming enemy pyros. Maybe have like a few Fleece or some Venoms to help you with your defense. If the enemy is really greedy, you can go for Flea harassment or Pyro harassment. Try to assess the enemy composition, how many moderators they have, how many pyros they have. If they go into pure pyro, you can just start spamming out redback, which helps if you have a commander in the center of the map that can start building redbacks as a placeholder, as a blueprint, and it can start printing out redbacks and threatening position, and then it's gonna have to like respond with moderators, and they're slow, and if you see where they are and have radar or fleece watching where they are, you can retreat your redbacks before the moderators arrive, and you kill a few mexes and retreat before the moderators arrive, and then you can start following up with recluse and threatening different position, avoid positioning with stingers, and then if the enemy gets Juggernaut or Firewalker, you should consider like making bombers or making a Widow to stun it. Crave, slows the game down. You can technically do it if you avoid getting dragged by a Juggernaut or stun the Juggernaut with Widows as it exposes itself. You can kind of kite Jax with Crab, as long as you don't get stuck by a moderator or a placeholder. Yeah, decent choice. Slows the game down a lot, but works. Yeah, there's a lot of the jump out player can counter every unit you has, but you can counter their counter by getting map hacked with fleece and out expanding their opponent. So those are my tips to you. Good luck and have fun.